Okay, we've got Cardi's run. We've got the self-titled Cardi, we got Die Lit, we got Whole Lotta Red. What's up, you're watching HIVEMIND, the most troubled show on the internet. My name is Riley, also I'm joined by my well-behaved co-host, Graydon.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there such thing as a perfect 3-album run? We asked our Discord to send in what they consider a perfect 3-album run. Today we're gonna go through their responses, say whether we agree, disagree, or whether their take was cringe.
Let's see how holy these trinities are.
All right, before we get into it, make sure you like the video, subscribe if you wanna see more, HIVEMINDTV.com for our merch. We also have a drop with Copes. It's linked in description. Some of it is on the screen. Go pick something up over there. Well, speaking of holy trinities, first we have Ye with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Yeezus, and The Life of Pablo. I feel like this kind of isn't even the most popular run people would say is perfect by him.
No, but this is probably my favorite.
I think it's my favorite run as well. If you just have to go 3 albums consecutively, which is all of these, that's what it is, like consecutive album runs. I don't know if it's perfect, because I don't think Pablo's perfect.
And there's some tracks on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy I'm not returning to all the time.
I mean, I'm gonna skip the Chris Rock thing every single time. I mean, it was fine. Like, I'm glad it's there, but I'm not gonna listen all the way through it. You know?
Yeah, but I think every like perfect quote unquote album run is gonna have moments like that. There's really no one that dropped like 80 straight songs that were just all bangers. That's kind of a myth. It's kind of the white bear of the woods.
I mean, we'll see today. That's kind of what it's about. But
Yeah.
I think it is interesting, like looking at an album run as a perfect run doesn't mean 3 10 out of 10 perfect albums in a row.
Right.
I still don't think this is a perfect run though.
I do.
You think it's perfect?
I do.
I don't know. I feel like Life of Pablo is great, but it has misses on it. I mean, that's kind of like the whole thing with Pablo.
Yeah.
Is that it's one of Kanye's first that's all over the place. It's cohesive, but has moments that I don't really love.
Yeah, no, I agree, but this is really like the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. These are so different. Each of them change the game on their own.
Yeah, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is very safe. I mean, it's like an ambitious album, don't get me wrong, but it's very safe in that it was trying to please people who wanted to hear him rap again. Yeezus is like a whole different, going to a different zone and doing something that no one would have ever expected him to do that kind of paved the way for not only the next 10 years of his career, but also the next 10 years of music in general. And then Pablo was kind of him settling into what I feel like has been his safe zone since then.
Yeah, with that tinge of Christianity in there.
Yeah,
and
the
like,
gospel.
Yeah, there's like the gospel influence came to play there and then has been inside of every album since, really.
And also kind of poisoned the well of his problematic and steadily declining public persona that I can no longer support.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think it's perfect. I think it's close.
I'm on the perfect side for this one. And I'm not gonna say that a lot today, so I'm gonna get it out of the way and time to start pooping.
Next we got Good Kid Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, and Damn from Kendrick Lamar.
It's perfect. It doesn't get any more perfect.
It's not perfect to me.
What?
Damn isn't even like a great album to me. It's a good album. It's not great to me. I know Damn's your favorite here, but like Good Kid Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly are both perfect albums to me. Actually perfect. 10 out of 10.
With this run, you have his origin kind of narrative here with Good Kid, and then you have the really ambitious To Pimp a Butterfly, and then to me, Damn is the climax because he's told his story of himself, he's gone ambitious, and then he can hold the radio's hand but still get across that unique message that only Kendrick can.
That's fair. I think honestly, it's just the fact that it's flipped. Like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is more ambitious than Damn to me. While it does do a similar thing, it tries to kind of appease people. I do think it's bigger and grander than Damn tends to be, but also it matters that it's first. Like it happens and then he goes to Yeezus and then he goes to Life of Pablo. Here he goes with cinematic, amazing Good Kid Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, jazz rap stunner of an album that a lot of people consider one of the best hip hop albums to ever exist. And then you get him like,
This one's perfect to me. I can't argue it. That's absolutely perfect. Maybe I am gonna say that a lot today.
Yeah, it's not perfect to me. I don't like Damn nearly enough for it to be a perfect album run, but I understand why people say it's perfect.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect 2 album run.
Perfect. Bing.
Now we got Tame Impala. So we've got Lonerism, Inner Speaker, and Currents. I mean, I think this is a perfect album run.
I can't argue with this. I mean, these first 2 are like an origin of our friendship. You would crank my mouth open and shove these records down there and be like, get psychedelic. And I was like, yeah. This is like the first run that ends in like a really nice climax for me.
Yeah. So many of these have this interesting, like you have to have albums that are different from one another, different enough from one another to like characterize a movement in the career of the artist.
Yeah.
Like Inner Speaker is a very raw psych rock album, more indebted to its psych rock influences. Lonerism sees it getting wider, experimenting with soundscapes, showing Kevin Parker as a great producer, and also I think showing some of like his ability to play all of the instruments, specifically bass was like a huge thing on Lonerism. He's like a really good bassist.
He plays bass?
He plays everything. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Sorry.
We got like 10 different versions of that bit in different videos, but yes, Kevin Parker is, Tame Impala is one guy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've got other posters on my wall. We can talk about the other posters. If you don't want to just talk about Tame Impala, it's fine. You ever heard of Wild Nothing? Yeah, no, I have a Fight Club poster too, yeah. Yeah, the end of the movie, yeah, it's crazy. Pixies, yeah.
And that was just one guy. Brad Pitt was actually just Edward Norton's kind of alter ego.
That was one guy, yeah.
Brad Pitt played bass.
And then Currents, you get the huge mainstream breakout, but also does not sacrifice quality. This is like, yes, Kevin plays with electronic music and R&B on this one. A lot more of a pop album, appeals to way more people, but no misses.
Right.
Like these are actually, to me, 3 perfect or near perfect albums. I love all of these albums from front to back.
Yeah, for like the classic perfect 3-album run, you do want to see that crescendo. That first album is like what you think of as that artist at their most stripped down.
Yeah.
And then that third is like how far they can come, how many more influences they can bring in, and how like wide they can reach.
This is the first one that I'm going to say is perfect.
I agree.
3 for 3 with you. Easy to please. This guy.
Easy to please.
I don't care how clear it looks. 4K is way too much for a TV. Okay, we've got Cardi's run. We've got the self-titled Cardi. We got Die Lit. We got Whole Lotta Red.
Not perfect. This is the first one I'm going to disagree with.
I think it's close.
Oh, it's really good.
I think it's very, very close. It comes down to like specifics. Like there's certain little things. Like Die Lit is maybe my favorite album here. But it also has like Poke It Out. Sometimes I don't. I'm like, that song's, I don't know if I need that one, you know?
But if we're talking about tracks we don't need, Red has plenty of those, and I feel like Self-Titled has a couple of those for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's close. This one is interesting because the sum of its parts and what he's doing is more important than each song individually.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Die Lit sounding how it sounded defined that time. A Whole Lotta Red not only defined right now, but like probably the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And then Self-Titled was, old Cash Cardi, like fit more in with everybody, but was doing something that made it feel like he was starting to reduce the way that he would on Die Lit, that made it so psychedelic and like visceral, and that's what he always does. And so I don't think they're perfect, but I think all 3 of these are very influential and important albums for when they came out.
I agree. They're essentials, but this order's also kind of got me fucked up. I wish Red came out before Die Lit.
But it couldn't.
I know, but I don't know.
Red had to come out before everything that's happening now. Red had to define a generation. Die Lit had to be like a document for that time of like a great, critically acclaimed album from somebody you never thought would make one.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm just like less pleased with the effect of Red.
Yeah, nothing great has come out of it yet. I do think that Destroy Lonely is starting to do cool stuff. I do think what he has done is interesting. And then yeah, I know. There's a lot of offshoots. I think it's not even the people that people say sound like Cardi, not just the people on Opium. Other artists all over the board are taking inspiration from that. And I think it's going to inspire waves in other genres.
I agree, but it's not perfect for me. It's really good. Don't mean to offend my Cardi fans out there.
All right, now we got Tyler, the Creator. We got Flower Boy, Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost, the 3 most recent Tyler albums. This is nowhere near perfect for me, and anybody who watched our Tyler bracket knows that. I don't know, Igor just doesn't do it for me vocally. I love the production, and I know that's his most critically acclaimed album, like the fan favorite. And Call Me If You Get Lost is a good album. I would say it's probably even a great album, but I just prefer other stuff from Tyler more.
Yeah. I don't think this run's perfect either, but I love this growth. Being his last 3 albums, coming from the full-on jazz-influenced stuff on Flower Boy to Igor, which has pop sensibilities, but does it very much in Tyler's way.
Yeah.
And then Call Me If You Get Lost, which is almost like the, hey, don't forget. I love what each of these 3 stand for and what they set him up to do next.
Totally.
Because you can't call it really.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're flawless.
Yeah, and something that has sat, like, dawned on me as I've sat with Call Me If You Get Lost is something that I think is really cool thematically about it. It's kind of playing on the fact that his early work literally made it so that he could not travel.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't allowed to go to the UK because of what he was saying in his early music. So this album is like his travel album. Like I have my passport now. Like now I'm allowed to go because of everything else that I've done since then. It is a really cool like freedom narrative of like, look at what I'm able to do, you know?
Yeah.
And that's great. I wish I had picked up on that more before I talked at length about it because I I do think it's kind of a braggadocious album from Tyler, which I'm not as used to. Flower Boy is a perfect album to me.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think you have a good album and a great album and then a perfect album, so it can't be a perfect run.
I agree.
All right, now we got Vampire Weekend. Just two white guys double high-fiving for Vampire Weekend.
That's right.
Yeah, so we have the self-titled, we have Contra, and we have Modern Vampires of the City.
I mean, Modern Vampires of the City is one of my favorite non-rap, non-jazz, something kind of outside of my wheelhouse, favorite records of all time. Saw this tour, blew my top off, smoked a joint in the pit, lost my mind.
We were there together.
It was one of my first times like in the city as like a kid, not of age, but like of age to fuck around.
Yeah.
And I fucked around and got my top blown off by one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a great show. Contra's my favorite here. That's a perfect album front to back for me. Modern Vampires is honestly probably my least favorite here, but I love it. It just has a few songs that I'm like, I could do without.
Yeah, I think every Vampire Weekend album has that for me because sometimes they do stray so far away from the shit that I like that it's like, I don't know if this is cool or not.
They go a little yacht rock on you.
Yeah.
A lot of that more yacht rock leaning stuff shows up on their first album. Then on Contra, you see them really start to experiment. Even some stuff that lost people.
Yeah.
People were like, this is just weird. Which is weird to say about Vampire Weekend because nothing they make is going to be that weird.
Right.
But like they started trying some things out. And then Modern Vampires, I feel like they honed in on some of that experimental stuff and made it appeal to the people who might have thought it was a little too weird on Contra.
Yeah, really came into their own.
Yeah, so there is an ebb and flow here. There's a crescendo, but it's kind of like the Tame Impala run, honestly.
Yeah.
Inner Speaker and Self-Titled are kind of like raw version of that sound, very indebted to their influences. Second album sees them start to like experiment with what their influences were and their own sound. And then Modern Vampires and Currents both being the one that appealed widely to everyone.
I really like this run, but it is a little far from perfect for me.
It's perfect for me.
It is?
I mean, when I decided I wanted to do this video, it's because people were talking about this on Twitter, and Nature Player, a friend of ours, said this run.
Yeah.
And I said, that's based, because I've always thought that.
Not to me.
Next, we got Drizzy Drake. Drizzy Drake. We got the Sixth God. Champagne Poppy, Mr. Cookie Recipe himself. Take Care, and then Nothing Was the Same, and then if you're reading this, it's too late. This one's interesting because it's two huge albums and then a mixtape that kind of shook things up.
Yeah, but that mixtape is fucking good.
I mean, that's his best project of all time to me.
A lot of people will say that. Nothing Was the Same is perfect to me.
It's close. I think it's his second best project, and it's close to perfect, but not perfect.
The problem with some things on If You're Reading This and Take Care for me, I always say Drake is just so of the times that sometimes things can age like really painfully.
Yeah.
But Take Care has been so long that those painful things are almost just nostalgic now, and I almost revel in them when I do listen to that project. And If You're Reading This still has some parts where I'm like, ooh, I don't want to be reminded of this trend at that time. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Because I mean, Take Care gets the pass for that. Like if you're gonna get the little funny trap drums, like the Big Sean trap drums, you'll get that stuff on Take Care and that gets a pass. If You're Reading This holds up to me, like
I just feel like there's some inflections, there's some attitude, there's some flows in there that like, I don't know, I'm just like over. They're a little out of style for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I don't get that. Maybe it's just because I love that mixtape too much, but not a perfect run to me because I don't really like Take Care all that much.
Yeah.
I've never have.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I feel like that's why it's, people will criticize that on our Drake bracket, but like if you didn't like it then, it's going to be harder to like it now because it has aged how it's aged,
Yeah. Damn near impossible, I'd say.
Yeah.
Unless you get in one of those moods.
Yeah, I'd have to get In My Feelings, but then I'll just listen to In My Feelings.
Not perfect, Drake.
Now we got Travis Scott. Rodeo, Birds in the Trap, Astroworld.
It's close.
Yeah, it's close. And we just did our Travis bracket, and that definitely gave me some newfound appreciation for Birds in the Trap, which I was a little sour on when it came out. Just didn't really hit me the same way the other two did. I do think it's the weakest of the three albums, but I also think it's kind of one of the most stylish.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. Like, you need Birds in the Trap in between these two.
Absolutely.
In order to get Astroworld. So I think it's close to a perfect run, despite me not really loving Birds in the Trap. Astroworld, to me, pretty much a perfect album.
And upon revisiting, I got a newfound appreciation for Rodeo. I feel like that didn't really connect with me when it came out. I wasn't riding that wave with everyone, but revisiting it, I like saw the influence it had very clearly this time.
Yeah.
And learned to love songs that I've never even given the time of day on that. Birds in the Trap does have some misses, and Astroworld has one or two misses for me still.
Yeah, close to perfect, not perfect, but one of the most interesting artistic evolutions we've seen of these runs today.
Totally. And I am appreciative of the misses. Like we've said with Travis, those like risks and misses set him up for, I don't know what he's gonna do next. Like I feel like his perfect album run's yet to come.
You wanna know one of the hardest parts about dating a really famous woman?
What?
Sometimes you want to be known for your hits and not just your misses.
Kendall Kylie. Shout out Calabasas.
Next, we got MGMT with Oracular Spectacular, Congratulations, and then the self-titled.
The self-titled, I'm going to admit right off the bat here, I haven't really listened to.
It's not great. There are some good songs on it. When it came out, I liked it. Revisiting it, it does feel like probably their weakest album of all time.
Yeah.
I would even say like Little Dark Age, an amazing album. If that was the third one in this, then we'd be looking at a perfect run. Because Oracular Spectacular, it's a very interesting album because they were trying to make pop music as a joke and then it took off. They were music nerds and they thought it'd be funny in college while they were taking psychedelics to try to make pop music, did it as a joke, it all blew up. Half the album is that, and then half the album is kind of them merging that with what they were already doing, experimenting. Congratulations is my favorite album by them. I think Oracular Spectacular is a great album, and then I think MGMT is just okay.
It's not perfect, but I didn't even think this would be in the game. You know what I mean? This is a crazy pick of a 3-album run.
Yeah.
Yeah, rest in peace to MGMT.
But they're alive.
Yeah, they're just not making good music anymore, though.
Little Dark Age is great.
You think so?
Like, you would love that album if you listened all the way through.
I need to revisit.
Little Dark Age is fantastic album. Some would say they're best. I think it's up there. Congratulations and Little Dark Age are their two best albums.
I'm a sucker for Electric Feel and Kids. I like those cuts.
I mean, they're great. Yeah. That's indie pop royalty right there.
I like those cuts.
They're better than anything from that era. Those 3 songs, and then you get other bands trying.
And Electric Feel's about a handy.
You've always say that.
It is.
What do you mean?
Listen to the lyrics, Riley.
Shock me like an electric eel, baby girl.
I think they said that, actually.
They said that?
To me.
What?
Yeah, at a Dick's Sporting Goods.
You met MGMT at a Dick's Sporting Goods?
Yeah, I was hiding in the racks.
You always do that.
I love that shit. Yeah. And I popped out and I was like, whoa, MGMT, it's y'all.
Yeah.
And they were like, Electric Feel's about a handy. And I was like, whoa, and I went back down in the racks.
That's the whole interaction?
Whole interaction.
Really?
Yeah.
They didn't expound upon... Okay, all right. Well,
nothing.
Whatever.
I said, actually, makes sense.
All right, now we got Eminem, Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, and The Eminem Show.
I mean, we toss around so much criticism about this guy on this channel because he has become comical in old age.
Yeah.
But this is fucking perfect.
Oh, I mean, if these 3 albums were the only ones that existed, you wouldn't even be able to fuck with them.
No. I mean, the storytelling that goes on here, the way he creates characters inside of songs and brings life to them and not just tells you about them. It's true theater. I mean, it is a show. It is a play. Nothing's really come close to this since.
I mean, his nasal cavities are a character in the play. You know? Getting away with the way he wrote hooks. They were so slinky, so much personality. It allows him to be funny and also fucked up.
Yeah.
Allows him to really play with a lot of stuff that we love to see in a rap album that we didn't know we wanted to see in a rap album before Eminem was really pushing it.
And for a rural white kid who was getting into rap when he was a young man, you can't speak on how influential it was.
Yeah, I mean, you love these albums, but you love these albums way less than anyone from your hometown.
Exactly. They're living these albums, you know, in a scary way.
Right. Yeah, perfect run.
It's perfect, Em.
Next, we got the 1975 with self-titled, and then I Like It When You Sleep, for You Are So Beautiful, But You Are So Unaware of It. Is that the name of it? And the other one is, Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships? Is that what it's called? God, their album titles, it's hard to remember.
It's a mouthful.
I know you're not a big 1975 fan.
I will say this. Their progression has really impressed me, and I think they've only been becoming more interesting and able to take risks, because I appreciate that new album a lot, and probably the most out of any of their records.
That's fair. I think this one's weird because it's I try to move it around their career to capture a 3. This is just the 3 that somebody sent in.
Sure.
A Brief Inquiry, I Like It When You Sleep, and the new album are, I think, their 3 strongest albums of all time. But yeah, they have a lot of misses here.
I hated them at the time of self-titled and the Sleep album. Anybody that associated as a 1975 fan, I was like, lame.
Yeah.
But I don't think that anymore.
I somehow was just enough of a poptimist at the time.
Yeah.
And I hate that I had to use that word in a video.
I like it.
It's really just the character of Matty Healy.
Yeah.
He's just so interesting.
Yeah.
I love listening to him talk. His interviews are crazy, and he just writes like nobody else.
Yeah.
And he says a bunch of shit that I'm either rolling my eyes at or laughing out loud.
Yeah.
That's awesome to me. I like a songwriter like that.
Yeah, that intrigue brought me really close on this recent record, and I have a newfound respect for them, but not perfect.
Future. Evil, Future, and Hendrix. Future and Hendrix came out
a day apart?
A week apart.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened.
Oh, dude, so cool. Because we got the first one and we were like, this is hard. And then we got the second one and we were like, this isn't hard, but it's really good.
Yeah. Like Hendrix to me, I know it's not his best, but it's my favorite.
Yeah, I just love that he did it.
Yeah.
I don't, it's like if Joe Biden wore Ricks. You know what I mean? He's not gonna look great, but I love that it happened.
But honestly, the thing is, people always say that Future was not a good fit for this sound or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think he, like, Lookin' Exotic is on that project.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of his biggest bangers of all time, in my opinion.
Air.
Fresh Air, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's some throwaways on Hendrix.
Sure.
And there's some throwaways, like, Future didn't hit me the same way. Evil is, like, a classic.
I think there's misses on Evil, though, too.
I mean, this is not a perfect run. No. I don't think Future has a perfect 3-album run.
Yeah, if I could pick 4 songs off of each of these albums, I could make one perfect album.
That's true.
You feel me?
Yeah. Denzel Curry.
Okay, this one's interesting. I like that it was submitted.
We've got Taboo, Zoo, and Melt My Eyes, See Your Future.
Taboo's really close to being a perfect album for me, and I'm not the biggest Denzel Curry fan, but I've always had a big appreciation for that record.
Yeah, saw him trying the R&B thing,
Yep.
kind of like the split into the 2 sides. I mean, or is it 3 sides? I think it's 3.
It was 3.
Yeah, it's black, white, and gray.
Yeah, it's like a suite.
Sorry, I haven't listened to Taboo in a minute. I don't
Yeah.
want to sound like an idiot, but you know, I feel like Taboo's not a perfect album, but that almost like plays to its strength.
Yeah, that's how I feel
He's like
too.
trying enough things that it couldn't be perfect, and if it was, it'd be like kind of weird.
Yeah, I think in like the climate of hip hop at the time Taboo came out, it like needed Taboo. I don't like the most recent record that much.
Melt My Eyes, I have like the controversial opinion amongst our fans and people that I talked about music. I love the first song on that record. I think there are good songs on it, but to me, just the way he delivers on it feels a little bit like he's trying to go for a mature delivery and ends up almost in like with a J. Cole thing happening sometimes that doesn't really hit with me.
Yeah.
I like the more unraveling Denzel from back in the day. Still a controlled flow and everything, but not trying to do anything that is too heady or ambitious or clever.
Yeah, I think the collaboration effort on Melt My Eyes is awesome and really showcases how he can bring different people in.
Yeah.
I mean, it showed me 454. He brought Terrace Martin on. It has
Robert Glasper is the first song, like showing that he can get in that space. And that one is so heartfelt that it doesn't feel like he's doing anything outside of his actual approach.
Yeah.
He's just doing what he would do and speaking from the soul, you know, like that song is like made me almost cry.
Yeah. But overall, I am just a little lukewarm on that project. And Zoo does feel like the side quest, so it's not a perfect run.
Not a perfect run. We've got Beyonce, Lemonade, and Renaissance.
Slay Queen, I gotta say that.
Maybe the best pop performer of all time, some people would say.
Yeah.
I do think these are 3 of her best albums. I wasn't all the way sold on the Renaissance one. I like that she's playing with the house and the dance music a lot, but just didn't do it all the way for me. Lemonade is my favorite Beyonce album of all time. Probably a perfect album. I don't love the country song.
See, I can appreciate it.
I can appreciate it. She's from Texas. I get it, but it just like, I skip it when I listen to the album.
From a concept standpoint, Lemonade is the coolest, the strongest. I agree with the sentiment on the house stuff in Renaissance. I like it. I don't think it was executed awesome. It felt like too much like Beyonce with house stuff and not her like diving all the way in.
I feel that, yeah.
This isn't a perfect run for me, but it's really hard to judge Beyonce.
Yeah, it's a legendary run for sure. And Beyonce, the self-titled, is a total hit parade. That was the one that I felt was the definitive statement, like, I'm different with pop music. Nobody does this like me. Not perfect to me, but definitely understand it being perfect to everybody else.
Yeah, keep slaying.
All right, now we got another Ye run. The original trilogy, probably the one that people would say is a perfect run just because they are part of an actual trilogy.
Right.
This is not perfect to me at all because of Late Registration.
Yeah.
I just think that album has a lot of misses on it. It's my least favorite of these 3 by a lot, and probably one of my least favorite Ye albums in general.
See, I love Late Registration. It just, I don't know, there's some things that have aged not great that I don't have that nostalgia for, or like, oh, this is that perfect throwback sound. It's like Kanye's always taken these risks, and some of these risks that he took here just are like forgettable.
Yeah, and you got Drunken Hot Girls on Graduation, which immediately pulls that out of being in the perfect conversation. College Dropout's probably my second favorite Ye album ever. Graduation's in the top 5 for sure, but I prefer that other run to this run.
Me too.
Not perfect.
Ain't no Lord of the Rings.
Right. It does kind of follow the same. College Dropout's kind of Fellowship of the Ring vibes.
Yeah.
And then Late Registration, kind of Two Towers vibes. And Graduation, obviously, Return of the King.
Battle for Helm's Deep.
Okay. Wow. Now we got Veteran, All My Heroes Are Cornballs, and LP from JPEG Mafia.
Okay. What was the one you played me yesterday?
I played you Veteran.
I enjoyed that album. It was a little too like ADD for me.
Yeah.
And I get that, like, anytime anyone's ever tried to show me Peggy's music, I'm like, oh, these little moments and production elements here and the way he can almost tumble or fall into a flow, it'll be like a cascading of all this chaos. And then he hits a flow and you're like, oh, this is familiar and hard. As a whole package, it does feel a little too sporadic for me. And I know that's part of the charm, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, Peggy like scrapes together a lot of different ingredients that you like, and the presentation is nowhere near your safe zone, you know? Like, I totally get that, but you know, the way he's able to flip and incorporate soul, also flip and incorporate classic flows with so much personality. Like, on normal production, JPEG Mafia's rapping style would come off like way cornier.
Yeah, no,
you know
I agree.
mean? This one might be perfect. Maybe it's just because I feel like JPEG Mafia is so underrated that I want to be like, JPEG Mafia, why is he not talked about as one of the greatest artists working right now? But overall, I would say like All My Heroes Are Cornballs has some misses for me. And then sometimes when I revisit Veteran, there are songs I don't really want to sit all the way through. But LP is still living with me. I'm still like listening to that one a lot. And so that is like basically a perfect album to me. Overall, I don't know. I don't think it's a perfect run, but like I might think it's a perfect run in like a year.
Sure.
So
I'm on the edge of my seat for the Danny Brown collab album.
Yeah, I can't believe that's actually coming.
I'm really excited for that.
All right, now we get your home base.
Here we go.
We get Bob Dylan. So we got Bringing It All Back Home, Highway 61 Revisited, and Blonde on Blonde.
The thing with Bob is like, I looked at the discography and this is probably the best 3 in a row, but it's nowhere near my 3 favorites. There's things about Bringing It All Back Home that I don't love. And I know Blonde on Blonde's like you can't argue it's a classic, but there are misses on there too. He has so much music out there that like he's weaving back and forth and then like finds himself in brilliant spaces. It's the continuous effort to get there that allows those misses to still be great songs. And then he stumbles his way into something genius and you're like, oh, this is amazing. He's my favorite artist of all time, but this is not a perfect run for me.
I owned Highway 61 Revisited as a CD. Like I had that in my car. So I've spent a lot of time with that one. I've spent a lot of time with Blonde on Blonde.
Same.
I've not spent much time with Bringing It All Back Home. It's another one I just don't have the authority to say whether it's a perfect run.
My favorites are like Self-Portrait, Blood on the Tracks, Nashville, Skyline. And then I like the original album. And I love Highway 61. I love all his records up until the 80s before he gets weird.
Yeah. Next we got Lil Peep, back to my home base.
All right, here we go.
So we got Hellboy, Crybaby, and Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. Not even close to perfect, sadly. Hellboy and Crybaby kind of sit in the same space a little bit to me, but Hellboy is the stronger of the mixtapes in my opinion. Crybaby just has Yesterday on it. It has Big City Blues on it, which have not aged super well. Yesterday I never liked. And then Come Over When You're Sober Part 1 is him stepping into a new sound, kind of getting some of that cinematic rock production that defined that late era Lil Peep and a lot of the posthumous Lil Peep stuff where you saw it get bigger, but it also lost some of what made it so charming and DIY when it did that. But as time goes on, that is stuff that I look back and I'm like, there's no misses on Come Over When You're Sober Part 1. It's 7 perfect songs in that style. But I also have more of a soft spot for Hellboy and Crybaby because the stuff that I like on there, I have more of a sentimental attachment to.
Yeah, I think the tragic thing is like there was a perfect run probably coming for Peep.
Oh, he was so young, yeah.
And like you said, it was getting bigger, it was getting more expansive, and it was getting to, you know, that upper echelon of the sound that he created, but that's the sad part. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Peep. I always said if Cry Alone had come out when Peep was alive, it would have been his biggest hit. I think we would have seen a different version of emo rap for the years to come if that had been out when Peep was alive. Oh, and then we get one of his main influences. We get Fall Out Boy. So Fall Out Boy, From Under the Cork Tree, Infinity on High, and Folie à Deux.
From Under the Cork Tree is perfect to me.
From Under the Cork Tree is a perfect album, and Take This to Your Grave, the one that came out before From Under the Cork Tree, is a perfect album, and probably my favorite now. As time has gone on, that is one of my favorite pop punk albums of all time, maybe the best. Infinity on High is indulgent. They got in their heads, and I don't like what they made there. It felt like they were aiming to recreate their hits. They've got like the Jay-Z intro. It just felt very much like reveling in the newfound pop punk fame, you know? Folie à Deux, however, massively underrated, and it was very tragic that the band broke up right after that album and then came back years later with some of the worst shit of all time. Yeah. But like, I mean, Folie à Deux has an Elvis Costello feature. Like, they were in a different bag, you know? So I say 2 perfect albums here, Folie à Deux and From Under the Cork Tree. Infinity on High, far from perfect.
I say 1 perfect here.
Now we got J. Cole. We got Born Sinner, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, and For Your Eyes Only.
I think the argument can be made that Born Sinner is perfect, and I would agree with any argument that 2014 Forest Hills is a perfect album.
Yeah.
For Your Eyes Only, I appreciate the concept behind it, and I always appreciate most of J. Cole's writing. I do feel it gets a little redundant sometimes, but that album's far from perfect to me.
2014 Forest Hills Drive is just kind of a flash in the pan for me as a person who never really all the way enjoyed J. Cole's music. KOD, I liked some of what was there, not everything. For Your Eyes Only, I never really, it just didn't hit me. Certain things that J. Cole does, I respect it, and I understand anybody who likes it, but like the way he raps and delivers just feels a little too heady, a little too whatever for me. It just doesn't like resonate with me as a listener.
Right.
You know, objectively, I understand that these three albums are all very important and do something different for J. Cole fans and for rap fans in general. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like these work up to each other, and you have to be close and in love with J. Cole's music for Your Eyes Only to really work. It's not going to bring the outsider in and get him hooked. It is the most self-serious for sure.
All right, next we got Taylor Swift, 1989, Reputation and Lover.
89 is the only album I even liked remotely here.
Yeah. Oh boy, hate to shit on this person, whoever sent this in. I'm very sorry, but terrible take.
Almost a waste of our time.
Reputation is bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, I don't like basically anything on that album. Lover has some songs that I like. 1989 is a great album. It's not perfect because I don't like Shake It Off, and I don't really like Welcome to New York, which is a weird one. Like, Taylor Swift, why are you welcoming me to New York?
Yeah,
Wouldn't it be like,
strange.
you know, Nas could do it or something like, I don't know, like Nas or Jay-Z or like Central Park Elmo or Colin Jost.
Yeah, any of those.
You know, Nicki Minaj even.
Yeah, it's like DJ Khaled's new record, Welcome to Hawaii.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if you should be the ambassador here.
I get it, you're a good time guy.
Yeah.
You seem like you like the island life, but is it your place?
Yeah, I'd rather have like an indigenous person from Hawaii maybe like welcome me.
Jason Momoa.
And if they don't, then I'm not going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What am I, a capitalist white pig? Yes, but I can't afford to go to Hawaii.
Right,
so
me either.
That's why I'm not going.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not going because just DJ Khaled's there.
Next, we got Pusha T.
Okay.
So we've got King Push, and then Daytona, and then It's Almost Dry.
This is really close.
This is close. King Push is the weakest one here for me. It's a dark album, and I love what he's doing there, but I much prefer My Name Is My Name, which came before that. If it was My Name Is My Name, then Daytona, then It's Almost Dry, that's like no-brainer, perfect run. Daytona's a perfect album.
Yeah.
It's Almost Dry is not a perfect album, actually. It does a little too much shilling with the Uzi and Don Toliver song.
Fair.
While I like it on its own, just within the context of the album, it feels like, let me just get a streaming giant in there too.
Yep.
It has some loose ends. I think it could have tied up on It's Almost Dry. Great album though. Daytona, perfect. King Push, great. Not perfect.
I agree. I think there's songs that I'm not going back to on each of these projects, but I don't know. This feels like the closest in the last couple we've scrolled through here.
That's the end of your submissions. But for the remainder of the video, each of us has picked a 3-album run that we do think is perfect.
No.
So we're gonna talk about those real quick.
Whose picks are first?
I believe it is mine. Modest Mouse. First we've got, this is a long drive for someone with nothing to think about. Then we've got Lonesome Crowded West. Then we've got Moon in Antarctica. Have you heard these albums?
Lonesome Crowded West, Moon in Antarctica, I've spent a lot of time with, especially in my youth, very much on my sister's recommendation.
Yeah.
And then kind of rediscovered later when we unfortunately became friends. I'm just kidding, just giving you a hard time. This is a long drive for someone with nothing to think about is the one I've spent the least amount of time with. I think you've showed me songs that I do love. I think Modest Mouse is amazing, but I can't deem it a perfect run due to lack of time spent with that first record.
Dramamine, first song on the first album, is one of my favorite songs of all time. And now, strangely enough, Lonesome Crowded West has become my favorite Modest Mouse album, so the one right in the middle.
Yeah.
But these are all perfect. And then Moon in Antarctica is the expansive kind of like, it feels like it was written in space.
Yeah.
And it was written after Isaac Brock experimented with meth. And that's why it is so goddamn weird. Like that record is borderline scary at times.
I agree.
Like the beginning of one of the songs is like, hello, how do you do? My name is you. Like that's how it starts, and it's like, what the fuck, you know? I think these are 3 perfect indie rock albums, 3 of the best ever, and right in a row, you can't fuck with Modest Mouse like that.
Tell him, Riley.
All right, Graydon?
Oh, Lord. Who would have expected me to pick D'Angelo?
This is probably the most amount of years we're ever gonna talk about in a 3-album run.
Yeah, I think Brown Sugar came out in 95, 2000 for Voodoo, and then 2014 for Black Messiah. And Black Messiah has a lot of music that was recorded in the Voodoo time.
Yeah.
But as you said with Isaac Brock experimenting with meth, D'Angelo did not only experiment, he was heavily addicted to crack cocaine. And the stories around that Voodoo era are insane. First off, the band he assembled world, had everyone who is ever important in R&B from that moment on in it. You had Questlove, you had Anthony Hamilton singing backup, you have Belial, you have Roy Hargrove on trumpet.
Palladino on bass too, right?
Palladino on a lot of bass, yeah.
Yeah.
He brought this like identity, almost like a hip hop rapper-like persona to a genre that was not squeaky clean. Like obviously 90s R&B got filthy and dirty at times, but he brought the musicality to the table, could play everything, is drumming in the videos, but is also like this sexy, like explicit character that existed in a singular way that no one else could.
I mean, he's a unicorn. Like I hate when people say that about an artist, but feels like a mystical character. Like if somebody told me that D'Angelo never existed, I'd be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like a specimen made of mist that like showed up sometimes on like the eclipse or whatever.
The skinwalker of R&B.
Yeah, I agree with you. Perfect run.
Yeah, I could do a whole video just talking about it.
Yeah. And now we got DJ Grant's pick. Grant, do you want to come take my seat? This is gonna be Grant's first time on camera in an actual video.
Yeah.
He's on our streams, but here we go.
Oh, this feels so weird.
What's up, baby? Who do we got here?
We got Home Shake.
Ooh.
In the Shower, Midnight Snack, Fresh Air. Unlike you guys, I don't think these albums are actually perfect, but I do think the run itself is perfect.
Interesting.
They're all just about smoking weed in different environments.
Okay.
One's smoking in the shower. One's at midnight, grab a snack.
Okay.
One's on your balcony.
Love a good balcony spliff.
Peter Cigar, he was originally in Mac DeMarco's band and broke away in 2012, I believe. 2014, In the Shower came out. 2015, Midnight Snack, and 2017 was Fresh Air. Outside of the fact that I don't think they are perfect, I think that the soundscape of each one progresses really interestingly.
That crescendo.
In the Shower is more of like a stripped back, laid down, like indie single songwriter kind of weird vibe. Midnight Snack incorporates way different sounds, and then Fresh Air is like brings in wild moving synths and all this different kind of energy that I just really fell in love with quickly. All in big pivotal years of my life too. 2014, 2017, it was high school, and then sophomore year of college for me. So big crucial moments for me, and this man took me all the way through it. So
you've drawn me in very close here. You've showed me songs off each of these records, I think, that I've really grown to like and have gotten me to tune in.
Yeah. It's really smooth sounding music, and I'm just excited for the future with him. I think he's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Sweet.
And I love you.
I love you too.
Riley, where are you? Where are you, Riley?
Oh, dude, hey.
Oh,
right here.
My bad, dude.
That's okay. I get it.
I'm not used to seeing the empty chair.
Yeah, no, I get it. I understand.
Grant was just in there.
Oh, Grant was here?
Yeah, he was in the chair.
Nice. How is he?
He's good.
You look okay?
No.
All right, so those were our perfect 3 album runs and yours. If you would like to send one in for a future video, please join our Discord, join our Patreon, comment them below. Thanks to everybody who sent one in this time. Other than that, like the video, subscribe, all that stuff that I said at the beginning. And Graydon, would you like to leave these wonderful people? It's my advice to leave it, blah, blah, blah.
Everything that glitters ain't gold, but it's cool.
All right, this has been HIVEMIND TV. We love you, appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Baby, bye. Ooh, NSYNC probably had a perfect run, didn't they? Somebody tell Mario Judah that I accidentally used his loofah. Old man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. I just wish Neil Young and Joe Rogan would make up.
For real?
I hate having to pick between my favorites.
Let's bring the olive branch.
Okay, let's get rid of Bruce Springsteen and Obama's podcast and make it Joe Rogan and Neil Young every week.
I like it.
And Neil Young's like, we gotta save the earth. And then Joe Rogan's like, have you seen this video of a gorilla fighting a whole pack of wolves? Take these supplements, Neil. Neil's not so young anymore, I'll say that much.
Neil Old.
Ladies and gentlemen, the artist formerly known as Neil Young. This is Sit Old. These chicks don't even know the name of my band.
They just don't even know the name of my band.
Riley, could you look that up for us real quick?